So now you have time to get your little snack or your cup of coffee, your iced tea, whatever, because we're going to start at 7:05. I think we're ready to go. Okay. Okay. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad to have you here at our virtual open door meeting with the East Flatbush Community Partnership. We have these meetings on the second Thursday of each month. And so welcome to Thursday night with the East Flatbush Community Partnership. I'm going to share with you a little bit about the partnership, our overview. So bear with me. Right. The East Flatbush Community Partnership is backed by the NYC Administration for Children's Services, better known as ACS, and in collaboration with JCCA, it brings together resources and individuals to uplift the East Flatbush community. Our primary goal is to strengthen child safety and family well-being through comprehensive support. We empower families to tackle obstacles, cultivate essential skills, and forge deeper into community ties. Our vision is equal opportunities where every family succeeds, and our mission is to improve access and coordinate resources between residents and service providers that support child and family well-being and the community's capacity to thrive. And that's who we are, and that's what we do. And we're glad to be here with all of you this evening. Now I've been asked to get us juices flowing and share an icebreaker with you guys. I'd like you all to share with me what is your favorite spring activity? You can either put your responses in the chat, or you can just come off mic and come off mute and tell us what your favorite spring activity is. I got Kai says warm weather. Okay. All right, that's okay. All my favorite spring activity. Stephanie Rimple is sharing that she likes the flower. We're moving fast here. Getting some good responses here. Stephanie likes planting flowers in the springtime. And Anise likes eating ice cream. Okay, I do that all year. Okay. All right, we got some good responses here. And Smithy Holmes likes the barbecues outdoors. Okay. All right, we got some good stuff here. So it sounds like we got a party planning activity going on here. All right, so I got another message here. Gilbert Johnson likes planting flowers as well. Okay, so we have the decorations for the party, and then we're gonna Zoom user likes relaxing with her family, and Sharon Shields enjoys walking. Okay. And Judith Paul likes visiting the botanical gardens and going to the circus. All right, then we got another gardener here, Sherber House, likes to garden as well. Okay, so I think we kind of got a sense of we're all on the same page with spring. We want to be outside. All right, so now I'm going to pass this to Kai.
Good morning.
He needs you all to do some stuff.
Good morning and evening to everyone in this meeting tonight. I'm Kai Prayer, Community Ambassador at East Flatbush Community Partnership. And like always during these meetings, I would like everyone to please enter your name in the chat to participate in our raffle going on towards the ending. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Cindy Reed here, also with the partnership, and I'll be doing the updates and upcoming events. So first update is about our community resident liaison. We encourage you to join us as a community resident liaison. It is basically you driving the force behind positive change in East Flatbush. As a liaison, you would actively engage in the community, attending meetings, and influencing I would say decision-making for the partnership. Your insight will shape our efforts to connect with residents and also on resources in the community. We also want to share that along with this, not just doing those things, there's some perks to it as well, such as leadership development, sorry, I can't talk tonight, networking, and a $200.50 stipend every 3 months. Anyone interested in applying for this, we encourage you to do now. We are reviewing applications. We're going to have someone I think Kai's going to be putting the flyer and the link in the chat if anyone is interested in applying. And you can share it with someone that you think would be interested as well. Next, we are relaunching our community aid initiative. I'm not sure if some of you remember this from, I think we did it 2 years ago, but here we are pleased to announce that in response to the ongoing financial challenges in the community, the partnership has relaunched our community aid program this week. I believe it was the notice went out yesterday in the newsletter. This initiative aims to assist families who have fallen behind on utility bills. We're incredibly grateful for the funding that was provided by our council member, Rita Joseph. And for those who are interested in applying for this aid, all of the details for eligibility, and the application process is on the flyer. You can find that in the newsletter. We're going to be also posting that in the chat along with the link to apply. Next, upcoming events, we encourage you to mark your calendar for our next monthly meeting, which will be on Thursday, April 25th from 3 to 5. This meeting will be virtual. These meetings occur on the fourth Thursday of each month. The meetings are well attended by service providers, but are open to the community. A wealth of information concerning resources and upcoming events is shared during these meetings. So we encourage you to register in advance to attend the meeting and get it on your calendar. The flyer and the link will be also placed in the chat. And we are launching our annual event, which is A Day for Our Kings. It is a Men's Street appreciation that we've been doing for the past 3 years. This year, we are expanding it. We will be hosting the first one in Bed-Stuy in partnership with the Bed-Stuy Community Partnership and other partners that has been helping us plan it. So that will be on April 27th at Restoration Plaza. And the East Flatbush one is going to be on June 1st. We'll be sharing the flyer for that later. But just letting you know about this, that'll be happening on the 27th, again, at Restoration Plaza. There'll be some health screenings, free haircuts, gift cards, raffle prizes, food, and much more.
I'm back again, and please, everybody, if you are willing, and if you want to participate in our raffle going on later on, please enter your name into the chat. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't say before, my name is Diane Smith, and I'm a community ambassador with East Flatbush Community Partnership. And I have the pleasure of introducing one of our guest speakers for tonight. Her name is Mayra Aldaz Deckard. She's the lead organizer for Riders Alliance. Mayra, the floor is yours. You're muted.
It's been almost 3 years, and we continue to not get it right. But thank you for having me. Mayra Aldaz, lead organizer with Riders Alliance, and I have a very short presentation about our work. And hoping that if you're passionate about our subway and buses system and how we can make it better for our community, you get involved. So I'll share my screen. And here we go. So like I said, our organization is a grassroots organization, meaning we're, base of a membership. We have about 30 member leaders throughout the 5 boroughs. Yes, we work in Staten Island. 2 of our organizers live in Staten Island. And we organize around buses and subways. Some people sometimes get confused and think that we also do bikes, but unfortunately we don't. We partner a lot with transportation alternatives, but our focus is on buses and subway. Some of our, campaign wins throughout this 11 years that we've been an organization. As many of you probably know, and I hope you do, it's Fair Fares, the discounted Metro card, the 50% discounted Metro card for low-income New Yorkers. Congestion pricing, which is the tolling system in Manhattan below 60th Street that we hope it will start in June. Our Better Buses campaign that is it's around the streets plans, that is the law in the city about busways and bus lanes. We won some federal money in 2020 when the MTA was going to shut down during the pandemic, and we successfully advocated to get some federal money for keep the system operating throughout the pandemic. And last year we won some frequency money, what we call the 6-minute service, for some specific subway lines. So, you know, the R train is running a couple minutes faster. Headways is not 12 minutes, is 10. So we continue to work on those campaigns. Here, we just like to show some of the numbers about who is riding public transportation in New York City. And as you can see, you know, it's like the you know, the working class New Yorkers, the immigrant New Yorkers, the low income New Yorkers that cannot afford to, you know, have a car and rely on public transportation to get to doctor's appointments, to, you know, school, to take the school to the kids, you know, to work, etc. A little bit of fares and where we are right now. You know, currently the program, if you make an income of 120% at or below 120% of the poverty line, you qualify for the 50% discounted Metro car. And those are some of the qualifications for it. You don't need to prove that, you know, your immigration status. You need to prove just that you live in New York, that you're at the age, and that your income is at as you can see the chart. If you have a family of four, you cannot make more than $37,440 a year to qualify for this car, for the discounted Metro car, which we, you know, we think that I think New York City should not follow the federal government poverty lines, because the cost of living in New York is not compared to the cost of living in other states. So what we are doing this year in this cycle of the budget season, and we are happy to see the Speaker of City Council, Adrian Adams, be in favor of expanding this to 200% of the poverty line, which would mean that a family of four now can make up to 53,000 and still qualify for a Metro card, which is a little bit more of, you know, the income in New York. And because we know our communities, you know, we can't live on 35 if you're a family of four, or 37 if you're a family of four. You're definitely going to be making more, but that does not mean, you know, that you are, you know, you have a lot of money. So we hope that the mayor and with the pressure of city council and our membership really puts you know, that income eligibility at 200% of the poverty line by the end of June, when the fiscal year ends. And a little bit of better buses and why we, you know, I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight, is because every year, since 2022, the mayor of New York City is required by law to implement 30 miles of bus lanes and busways throughout the city. That is, you know, 30 miles for the whole year. Currently, since 2022, the mayor has implemented only about 10 miles. So, which means he's a little behind of, you know, that 5-year commitment of 150 miles of bus lanes and busways throughout the 5 boroughs. And this is important, and why is important? Because the Department of Transportation about a year and a half ago identified Flatbush Corridor that runs from Kings Plaza all the way to downtown Brooklyn as a major route that, you know, carries almost 120,000 riders every day, that connects many bus lanes, other bus routes that feed into Flatbush Avenue. They identified it. They were in talks with TWU, the union, the bus operators. In the summer of 2023, we had a bus ride along with Councilmember Narcisse, Councilmember Joseph, and the mayor. We took the bus on Flatbush, and you know, he made a commitment to look into Flatbush and the way that we can, you know, make it better for everybody that is, you know, riding through Flatbush, driving through Flatbush, that has a business on Flatbush Avenue, and how this possible project will make their lives better, make their buses go faster, make less congestion for those who are driving, less congestion for emergency vehicles, and make just safer for everybody along the corridor. This was about a year and a half ago. We hope that this year, and these are some of the options that the DOT, the Department of Transportation, and the MTA were looking into. Dedicated bus lanes, which means, you know, moving the center lane to the middle just to be a bus dedicated lane. This will allow, you know, obviously trucks, dollar vans to operate on those lanes to load and unload for those businesses along Flatbush Avenue. We don't know where the conversations are with the Department of Transportation. We know that the Department of Transportation starts looking at these projects and starts doing focus groups and community meetings around this time of the year, around the spring. And then they start painting, you know, when the painting season starts for them, which is late spring, early summer. They have a couple of months where they can paint when the weather is okay to paint. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not too wet. So we know that the window for this project, or for a result of like advocacy and community feedback, will be helpful by the end of our month. So we've been doing our work. We are an advocacy, a grassroots organization. We've been doing our work. We've been having community meetings in different districts. We had one with Councilmember Joseph in her district, and Councilmember Farr Lewis's district. We will be having a meeting in the bus depot with the bus operators and Councilmember Narcisse at the end of this month in Kings Plaza. And we do also virtual meetings as well with the community. What we want to do is that at the end, when, you know, it comes the moment where the Department of Transportation says, okay, we're ready to do this, all the players are at the table, meaning community members, bids, community boards. We had a great meeting with Community Board 17, with Community Board 14. I'm sorry, Community Board 14. We're gonna present Community Board 17, Community Board 9. That all the players that know the community, that know the neighborhood, are at the table when the decision comes. Because we've seen it before, that, you know, sometimes the DOT just does something and then the community comes back and says that, well, that was wrong. You never asked us. So we don't want this to happen. On Flatbush, I live nearby. I'm on Kensington, so I take the B35. When we do canvassing, we are in the neighborhood talking to the community, getting feedback from everybody. So, you know, we invite you to join us to learn more about the Flatbush and how you can get involved. Just in general, if you want to get involved with other campaigns, fares, more frequency for buses, or just to learn more about how the transportation system operates and who manages what. Sometimes people get confused. The mayor manages the streets, but the governor puts the money for the subway. So they are different levels of government that manages. So you know, just join us. Come and learn more, a little bit more about what we do. And, you know, I'm here. I'll drop the links on the chat for whoever wants to join us and to learn more about how you can get involved if you're passionate about transportation.
Barbara, could you share about what that commitment would look like? How often you meet, stuff like that, what's expected, if someone was interested?
Yes. So we have monthly meetings for new members, just to learn who we are and how to get involved. We also have monthly community leaders members, and that is more sort of like you go through sort of like a short training on how to speak to the press, or, you know, how to canvas, how to approach more people and talk about it. It's not a big commitment. You know, we ask to show up to press conferences, to maybe tell you stories, so we can shoot a short video, of you, so we can have like social media engagement and digital promotions, to share a little bit about what, what your commute is to work. Sometimes for one of our campaigns, our digital strategy followed one of our members. She's a nurse, and she was commuting about like an hour and a half to her job. And, we were pushing for more frequency in the subway. So he shot like a cool video of her doing, commuting, and like if she missed a transfer, she missed the next train and she was late to work, and how important it is to have frequency and on time trains. And yeah, it's a very short, we meet, and like if you're available to come to a press conference, to a rally, to come canvassing with us, we always welcome. And if you want to learn more, you can take some of the trainings, like I said. Yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
And I'll drop my email as well. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.
Thank you for all the information you shared. I definitely learned some things tonight from that presentation. So I appreciate your time and the information you shared.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Okay, we're gonna move to our next presenter.
Okay. Good evening again. And I see our next presenter is here. Krishna Davenport. Krishna R. Davenport Francis, the founder of Baobab Wellness Collective. Miss Krishna, you're up. Okay, welcome. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Now I have to think. I got out of my light doing something. Let me get back in here. Okay. Can everybody see me? Okay, great. So thank you all for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you about what I do, what the Baobab Wellness Collective is. After the meeting, I'll send out the documents about what we do, because it's just easier with the iPad instead of my laptop. So just a little bit about me. I am a Brooklyn native who kind of bunked the system all around me that was pushing for me to go into education, and instead I went into finance and went to Wall Street. I'm from Brownsville. It's not a conversation that you have a lot about the stock market and what it looks like. And so it was new and different for people to see a young black girl on Wall Street. So when I speak at events like this, a lot of what I like to do is speak about the relationship Black people have with money. And that usually helps me understand where we are as a group or as a people, or what our goals are. So some of the questions, so here's a few questions that I'll ask a few questions, and if you all could just jump in and give me answer the questions, and then I'll tell you how all of that fits into what Baobab Wellness does. So I think with Zoom you can use the hands up thing, the hands up module. How many of you have just a regular savings account? So I see 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, maybe 5. So the stats around the average of Black American in the US has $28,000 saved over their lifetime, compared to our white counterparts, which is $140,000. So there's this huge disparity in the way that we look at money, or are taught about money, and the way other people look at money. Anyone on the call have a 401k plan or 403b plan and is actually actively managing it? So I see 2 hands, 3. No, that's really good, because most people sign up for their 401k plan. They take the options that your firm is offering you, and they don't actively manage it. Meaning, and what I mean by that is they move the money around, they watch what they actually own and sell. So yeah, I think, yeah, 403Bs work slightly different than a 401k plan, but it's still the same thing. It's a retirement plan. So here's a tricky one. How many people on the call have whole life insurance? I see 4. So the reason I always bring up whole life insurance when we're talking about money is because whole life insurance, if you buy it for yourself, when you buy it for your kids, this is money that eventually you can borrow against for different things in your life. So it's a really important factor. And not too often do we hear our community talk about whole life insurance. We hear about life insurance, but there's a difference between some life insurance and whole life insurance. So what we do at Baobab Wellness is we coach Black women individually or as organizations, meaning it could be an investment club, it could be a book club. We go into these meetings and we talk about the benefits of investing in yourself, but also investing in things as minimal as stocks and bonds, and obviously in insurance. I don't cover insurance. A friend of mine works within this collective to help gain access to insurance, whole life insurance. So our process when we talk about investing, it really does start with looking at your budgets. It looks at what your relationship is with money. And I'm going to keep harping on what a relationship with money looks like, because I don't think enough of us talk about how we actually interact with money. Because how we interact with money is how we actually interact with savings and buying property and building wealth. And I won't say generational wealth, and I'll talk about that when we get down the road. So when we look at your budget, look at what you can save, look at what you can invest, then we work on mock sessions. So I go into investment clubs all the time, and they have a whole group of money and they've saved and they're ready to put their money into the stock market. And then I hand them monopoly money, and I hand them that monopoly money, and then we walk through what it's like to actually invest, how you invest, which is a big question, because a lot of the time people invest in what they think is popular. Like, I'm sure everybody saw what happened with GameStop during the pandemic, how it got run up because everybody was just buying it. And now that stock is at a minimal price from where it was. And a lot of people lost money because that's not really the right way to invest in the market. You invest in the market based off your actual life and your needs, kind of the same way we just heard the presentation before us talking about the bus and the trains and how that affects your daily life. So when I invest in things for myself and for my kids, and I invest in things that they actually like. Like, we are a very big Nike family. We own a lot of Nike stocks just around that one thing. So as we go through these mock investment sessions and how to trade, we also work on the language of Wall Street. And it is a different language because there are more pieces to investing than just I gave my money to XYZ broker. So there's a full process that happens. And so we work around that language. We work around the language that you often hear when you listen to CNBC or MSNBC when they do their stock portions, around what capital gains look like and what capital losses look like. We work very intently to make sure that that doesn't sound like gibberish when you listen to them and you understand what P&L means and why it's so important, what is happening in the and with like everybody's talking about, right, the jobs numbers right now. Why does that inherently affect the stock market? A lot of the times when I do these things, I don't like to use Wall Street jargon. I take the Wall Street jargon and I apply R&B and hip hop lyrics to it so that it makes it more digestible. And just for context, I don't just do this with Baobab Wellness. I do this in my 9 to 5 job. So JP Morgan is my client. Oftentimes they will get a presentation and a Biggie lyric is somewhere in there because it just makes everything more relatable. And not just Biggie, but sometimes rap, sometimes R&B, just depends on how I feel. It makes it a lot more relatable. So one of the reasons that Baobab Wellness came to this space, so originally we really focused on physical health and mental health, and then I realized that a part of what was affecting people mentally was the financial health, and so it became another branch on this very large tree that is, if you know anything about the Baobab wellness, about the Baobab tree, it's the tree of life. And so this became a tenet of how we actually live our lives. And it started, the financial aspect of it started during the pandemic when I saw people making not good choices in the stock market. So I just started going live on Facebook and Instagram and answering people's questions like I'll do here. But one of the things that I always point to during that time was, we were all home watching TV, and for some reason I was watching the Jeffersons like every day. And my favorite episode of the Jeffersons is the one where Louise is battling with, should she get a maid? And she wants to be frugal. She wants to not do it. There's all these different things. And between her and the Willises, a conversation happens that revolves around money conversations that we have all the time. Not putting your purse on the floor. That's not in that episode, but that's one. A penny saved is a penny earned. And there's a whole discussion around that because we should be all in a place where we're not worried about making a penny to save. We should be worrying about, because that same 10K that you made is earned and saved. And so we use that particular episode to make sure, specifically Black women, but we work with everyone, that you understand that how deeply we as a people are taught to work hard for the minimum when we deserve so much more. And then also that we shouldn't be working for pennies. And when we are working, we should be working to actually grow our wealth in any form. I know a lot of people are like, I don't have the money to invest in the stock market, but there are still ways around that. And so we work on those ways. Like if you can maybe invest $5 a month, what does that look like? And how do you buy stocks with $5, right? So because that wasn't always an option, and it's not a popular option now, because it means that it's giving access to people who are historically blocked from the market. So earlier I said I don't like to use the term generational wealth, because in my opinion, as someone who works in Wall Street, but also who has kind of studied African-American history, generational wealth is not only built from the stock market, and there are too many ways for you to be battered out of that. Generational wealth starts with property, and it starts with things like I've already explained, having that 401(k) or a 403(b) and having a 401(k) and understanding how to move around in it. Having a stock account, yes, but understanding when to sell, when to buy, what to sell and what to buy is the way you actually build generational wealth. And that is something that is passed from person to person. So does anyone have any questions? I've been talking a lot, so let's pause for a second.
I don't have any questions, but it's just getting me thinking about how my relationship with money and how that came about with, how I was raised and with my family. So just all of those thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we delve kind of deeply into that stuff because, so I'll use my family as an example. My mother has a fear of money. Not that she doesn't know what to do with it, but she doesn't like to talk about it. My grandmother, on the other hand, who passed in 2020 due to COVID, before she passed, she gave me all the records and she made me sit down and comb over every single detail of that. And she met with her financial advisor every quarter. She didn't have a problem talking about money. My grandmother was a child of the Great Depression. And they did believe in the penny earned is a penny, the penny earned is a penny saved mentality. So she didn't hold tight to money. She always understood where her money was going. And I think my mother understands where her money is going, but she just doesn't want to talk about it. And that can be a factor of how we live our lives going forward, right? When I got married, in my head, I knew, and being in this business, I knew I had to share these things with my partner. But in the beginning, I just didn't want to talk about it, right? It took a lot for me to be like, let's sit down, let's look at the budget, let's do this, let's do that. I was just like, I mean, we have the money, we paid off the bills, and that was it. So we delve really deeply into that portion, because understanding your relationship with money frees you of the burden that money sometimes brings you. I agree, it's a touchy subject. I'm sorry, I can't fully see the chat. Okay. When living paycheck to paycheck, also talking to our kids about budget and savings. Absolutely. When my oldest was born, like a week after he was born, I set him up a stock account because I had a social security number. And so for every Christmas, I give my children some stock. Like, I just buy something. And sometimes I buy fractional shares because now, well, the oldest is old enough to manage his own account now. And sometimes I buy full on shares. But there are so many entry points to the stock market now that he'll be 18 in July. There weren't that many entry points into the stock market then. And there are now. And I think that with the right guidance, you can do that. Oh, thank you very much, Smithy Holmes. Any questions, any inquiries, Krishna, what should I buy? I won't tell you that part, but any questions that you have, happy to answer.
Thank you for what you've shared so far. When I think about the community, you have a group maybe doing just fine, and others who when it comes to the word stock, it just seems like that's not for me. I don't know how I can participate. You said there's a way to participate with just $5, but even sometimes people are skeptical about that, and they have the right to, because there's so much stuff happening in today's society. So how could we bring that word down to not being so scary, and tackling it and starting out whatever that looks like in the simplest ways, like ABC?
So I think the simplest ways is to first address that first thing, right? Why are we so skeptical about money? Because white people are not skeptical about money. They don't care. They could be the richest white person or the poorest white person. They are not as skeptical as we are. Now, we know why we're skeptical, because we are a community that has been scammed in various different ways. Everybody's trying to get up, a leg up. But when you have someone who's a professional, right? Like, so I am a professional, and I tell you, if you open a stash account with just $10 and you let $5 go in every month, and instead of buying stock with your $5 a month, buy into gold. And here's why. A lot of the times people don't share the why. They just say, you know what, if you buy stock. So there's a guy who's on the internet, I won't give his name, but he is consistently telling people you can just have $500 and become a millionaire. And that's not actually true in the sense that he is telling you. He's doing it to sell a product. And so in selling that notion that if I save $500 and I invest in it in the market, I can be a millionaire in just 6 months. It's actually not. That's the scam. So that's why we take so much time to dig into your relationship with money, how you feel about money. I have lots of times had groups of people who booked me to come to them and then said nothing. I don't want to talk about money. I don't care. But then once the group disbanded, people showed up and they called, and then they're okay with having the conversation. And so I think we have to say, if we're gonna think about wealth, we have to be okay with it, and we have to kind of call it in, right? Money comes to me. Okay, so how does that work? Well, then you find the professionals around you. And while lots of people think I'm an anomaly, I'm really not. There are a lot of Black Wall Street professionals who offer advice and who are happy to come and talk to you about their various different portions of Wall Street. So like for me, I am a specialist in the retail market, meaning the stocks where you buy, like I buy Nike, I buy Columbia, I buy whatever, right? That's my specialty, as well as mutual funds. But I know people who work in credit and people who work in debt, and they all share this kind of information. Connect with affordable, reliable financial advice. So how you can do that is, I am a big fan of Charles Schwab. Right now, they're having a little bit of financial problems, but companies like Charles Schwab allow you to invest. And now they allow you to invest in fractional shares, but they allow you to invest without having these huge accounts. A lot of times, if you were to invest with, like, say, a Morgan Stanley, you have to have $50,000 in accounts. That's what I have, $50,000 to even open up the account. That's what I mean about there's so much more accessibility. You have the Schwabs, you have, people will say Robinhood. I don't like Robinhood, so I would tell you not to invest with them. But you have Webull and all of the consultative portions that you would get from somebody, like if you sat with me, you get right in an app. So there are ways. And then, like, I will leave this call and you will have my contact information. Whether you book with me or you just have a question, I'm happy to answer those things, because another portion of being in community is not always trying to feed off your community. So I have a friend, he is consistently sending me questions, and I answer them because he's not going to get the information anyplace else. So Anna Stewart, if you take my email and let me know when you want to do that, I will. One, there's a book that you can buy, and I know the author, and she used to be a trader, so happy to give you that information as well. But one, I don't agree with teens being in Forex. It's too risky, not a great thing, but we can help you. I can go to my philanthropy group and we could try and create a workshop for you. And there's someone who just says Zoom, it just says Zoom users. I will drop my email in the chat. I'm gonna put my personal email because I just took this other site down. And you all could email me, and I don't know why it's I'm gonna do it again. I won't put it up because I'm on my iPad because I was running in, so I was at parent teacher conference, but I can share with you. Oh, Cindy, I actually shared it with you. You're okay to share it with everyone else. I'll actually, let me send you a cleaner version of that, and then you can share it with everyone that's on the call. Oh, 22 and 27. Yeah, they're not teenagers. But Forex can be dangerous, and it is a lot of risky trading. There are ways to I prefer when people take a jump into the market, especially at 22, that they actually go the route of stocks and not so much Forex. Any other questions? Let me make sure I got everybody in the chat.
So if somebody wanted to be more active when it comes to their finance, you in the beginning asked about if people are participating in a 401k, and are they actually, participating in it, not just signed up for it when they started the job and haven't looked at it ever since, or don't even know the password to get into it and actually look at it, right? What would your advice be to get started? And right now, wherever someone is in their financial lifetime, what would be a step that you would consider to take right now? They wanted to, right after jumping off this meeting, this is what you should do. Obviously, they could contact you too, but what should they do right now before they even email you? If they really wanted to get serious about their finances.
If you really want to get serious about your finances, go look at your budget first. You always got to look at your budget first, because you don't want to be investing in and then struggling in your day-to-day life, right? You want to make sure financially you can afford to do it. People find ways, but I would suggest that's your first step. And then your second step is, if you already have a 401k plan, log in. So much has happened in the last 2 days that you could have had, I'm just going to use $1 million, right? You could have had $1 million in your account on Monday, and you don't have it right now. The market has been severely down over the last 2 days because we're in two things are happening right now. We are just getting job numbers. We are in what they call the word just went right out of my head. I'll come back to that, but companies are telling about their earnings. There's a specific name for it, and it's earning season. I'm sorry. It's earning seasons. So all the companies are saying where they lost money or where they gained money. And when a company loses money, their shareholders lose money, those costs are passed on to you. So these are things that are happening every day. And oftentimes, even sometimes I don't go look, but that's because I do it all day long. So sometimes I'm just like, whatever, I don't even care to know what happened, because if the screen is red, I know everything is red. So those are my first two things. If you have a 401k plan or any kind of retirement plan, go look at what's in there. Go see what these people are investing in your name, because that's exactly what happens. Companies give you a list of funds that they think that you should invest in. You pick one, you may not even know what it is. Go and look it up. All this information is pretty readily available. All you need is the name or the ticker, and that's the identifier. So like when you look at Apple, and if you see Apple running on your screen, it never says Apple, it says AAPL. Those are ticker symbols, and that's how we identify what's being traded. And all of the funds that are usually existing in a 401k plan have those same kind of tickers. They'll just be longer because of they usually have 4 letters instead of the 3. And that's also a thing to know, right? That's also kind of things that we teach you in the beginning. New York Stock Exchange stocks only have 3 call letters. NASDAQ has 4. And then we teach you what's the difference between those. Oftentimes people will ask me questions like, well, the Dow was up, so why is my portfolio down? Well, the Dow is only 30 stocks. If you don't own those 30 stocks, you won't see the same gains. So that's the kind of stuff we go through. How safe is Bitcoin? So I am not a enthusiast on the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. I am a product of the 90s Wall Street era. And junk bonds were very lucrative. And for me, cryptocurrency feels the same, it gives the same feeling. There's this huge jump up, huge jump down. So I'm not a fan of Bitcoin. I have lots of clients who own Bitcoin in larger, like within banks, but it's just not my wheelhouse. Anything else? I think I got everything.
This one in the chat.
Is IUL a great investment? Is it non-taxable when borrowing against it? I would have to get you in touch with our the person within BioWare Wellness that deals with that particular investment. So Judith Paul, go if you would like to shoot me an email, and then I'll put you in contact with our person.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Any other questions? Any and it could be any question. It's if I can answer it, I'll answer it right now. Okay. Oh. Thank you, Anise Stewart. I'll keep an eye out for your email.
Well, if there aren't any more questions, we thank you so much for joining us. We're definitely going to have you come back so you can do the presentation that you shared and showed. I know that today was a little hectic for you, but we thank you for joining us and sharing what you shared so far. We know that this was finance was a topic that this group, asks for, and that's a big word. And stocks is just a small part of that, right? So
Right.
we encouraged. Again, want to invite you back to share more into what that looks like and some of the stuff that you showed in the presentations that you shared with me, with the rest of the group. So thank you so much for your time. And again, you put your email in the chat, so everyone on the call, take advantage of that. You have a question. I know it's uncomfortable. I come from a Jamaican family. They don't talk about money. They don't talk about when they don't have it, but sometimes when they have it, covers culture. We want to act like we have it sometimes, but never want to show like we don't have it. But take advantage of that email. Again, thank you for your time. And everyone on the call, we're gonna move forward with our raffle.
Okay. You guys have a great night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Good night.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, and night, everybody. If you haven't already, please enter your name in the chat if you want to participate in our raffle after this. Please and thanks.
How do you think you got everybody?
Right after the people that send in, I'll have it.
Okay. So we'll give it a minute. While people do that, we'll like to encourage you to stay connected. You can call us at 347-675-7810. You can email us at ef@cpp.jccany.org. We encourage you to explore our website at eastflatbushpartnership.org and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at East Flatbush Partnership. And our next meeting, the date is being blocked, but I think it's May 9th at 7 p.m. So Kai, you ready? Does anybody have any questions about some of the things we shared earlier in the
Ready?
the meeting. You said ready? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead and share your screen, Kai. You got the music up, Kai?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, go ahead. Take it away.
Congratulations to Miss Madeline Cameron. Yeah. She's our first winner. Our next one, Miss Ladea Obey. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Kai, give me a second to write that name down. Miss O, I can't pronounce it. Is it your first time joining us?
No, this is my second time joining you guys.
Okay. Could you please send me your email address in the chat? You can send it to me privately. This is Cindy Reed.
Okay, how you doing, Sydney?
Hi. Thank you. I just want to make sure that I have your email, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
send it now.
And for our last winner of the night, even though we're all winners in some way, it is Stephanie. You're here with us? Oh, yeah, I see the emoji. Thank you to all of our winners, and thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Hope everybody has a wonderful night, and take care.
Hi, Stephanie. Is it your first time joining us? Stephanie, is it your first time joining us? Could you also put your email to me in the chat, please? Oh, yes, it's Stephanie's first time. Thank you for joining us. Yes, put your email in the chat. Thank you. And as Kai said, thank you for all of you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed tonight's meeting and look forward to you joining us next month on May 9th.